Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Ask Scanner School. My name is Phil Lichtenberger, and this YouTube live session is here to answer any questions you may happen to have about the scanner radio hobby. So I am kind of flying on instruments right now. It looks like I reconfigured everything on my end, and right out of the gate, we had OBS crash, which is just a beautiful sign that something isn't working right over here. So we're going to, as usual, try and push through as best as we can. Every once in a while, you'll see me just double check my audio like this to make sure that I'm still pumping out some audio, and I'll be looking from left to right to see if my monitor cameras are working. So with that being said, if you are live with us in the chat right now, why don't you let me know that you're there and where you're watching us from this morning. And if you are catching us on a rebroadcast, welcome to a replay, and let me know in the comments, I guess, below that you have circled back around to watch this. And again, any questions that I see, I normally try to circle back on. So if you are catching this on a replay and you have a question for me, just keep posting them down below, and we will make sure we answer that. We got Ray in right now from Des Plaines in Illinois, and it looked like Chris was in just a little bit earlier. Good morning, Chris, to you. So again, this is kind of a avenue for you guys to ask me questions, pick my brain, and give you a little bit of help with the scanner radio or the actual radio hobby. I am going to do my best right now to limit changing screens and moving around too much as to not disrupt my broadcasting software. Updates over here in our neck of the woods over here. We'll get some of the easier stuff answered first, and then we'll circle back on some other things. Medically, we're doing pretty good. For those of you who don't know, I've been battling stage 4 prostate cancer. I've hit 2 years in remission the beginning or the end of last month, so that's a bonus. Beginning of this month, we've been off of all treatments for a year. Still dealing with some side effects, so there's all that going on. As far as what's been happening here in the radio room, we're still kind of playing around with things, still trying to get the setup behind me dialed in. We did create a pretty lengthy video on setting up some of the radios that are back there, as well as getting them plugged into a serial interface, getting them into the computer, getting a live feed launched, getting the audio routed from the scanner into the computer, and also getting them powered up. That video was recorded, I'd say at this point, 2 months ago, and we are putting the final touches on that video. It's a long video. It's actually an hour long, and it was created in a way that would mimic you being in the room with me. So it'd be like you sitting next to me, describing what's been going on here, what we're doing, the steps, why we're doing things. And the best part about the way I've set this up is it completely turns everything that I have been preaching on its head. We went for the KISS method when I set up the radios back here. So I don't want to give out too many spoilers, but it's basically the lowest barrier to get things up and running. So it's going on the mantra of don't get it right, just get it running. So with the hobby, one of the things I love about this hobby is the fact that you can do something, get it up, get it functional, get it working, and then you can always go back and tweak it and see any improvements that you've made. And then you can make other changes and see any type of improvements, or maybe you didn't improve on something. So this will give us an opportunity to start with basically just 2 radios, get them plugged in, get them going, and then grow into the full setup that you see behind me. Another thing that we have been working on here are short form videos. And why are we concentrating right now on short form videos as opposed to doing longer form and the podcast? It's because we're working muscles here. We're doing high repetition work so that we can learn ins and outs of some of the software that we're using. And I'm working with a virtual assistant that I hired full time to help me get some of this content going, edited, published, and out there. So yes, Joe P, this is live. So that we can get this content out there. And I'm actually going to reply on chat because it's faster here. So that we can work the muscle. So we've gone from one piece of software that we thought was going to help us get things out to another piece of software, and then we're on our third piece of software, which is a really advanced piece of software that has a lot of learning behind it, but the power and the ability to get things turned around faster is greater once we learn how the software works. So a lot of these short form videos that we're creating is allowing me to get back in front of the camera, allowing me to get that muscle working as far as creativity, but it's also working the muscle on how to work with somebody else, because I've always pretty much flown solo with a lot of this stuff, and working with somebody, handing it off, learning the ins and outs of managing multiple videos at one time, getting things out, and getting help out faster. So it's not just a one-sided, like, I'm just doing this for myself. If I have questions, I can get them answered faster. If I have tips, I can get them answered quicker. If somebody wants to learn something, let them watch a 2-minute video as opposed to something that drags on with a longer, more detailed explanation. These will be the quick, the dirty, the very direct, this is how you're going to do something. And then on the next video, we'll do, well, if you want to do this differently, this is how you're going to do it. So we're going to break the process down into shorter, more digestible content to kind of help with the hobby. So there's a lot of different avenues that we're trying here. And as we do the shorts, we're going to start backfilling in the long. And as we start doing the long, we're going to start backfilling in the podcast. So all of this is to allow us to do things faster and more efficiently. So this is more of the walk before we run type of situation here. I know it's been a long process. A lot of it is due to my health. A lot of it is due to how much I can physically do after my 9-to-5 job, which is pretty much zero because I go from my 9-to-5 into physical therapy now. And then I also have a machine that I need to sit in every single night for an hour. So I'm drained. But it's Saturday. We're here, and we're here for you guys. So let's go ahead and start looking at some of the questions that you may have here. Joe is checking in from Harrison, New York, a fellow New Yorker. Thank you for being there, Joe. And BP says, so glad to see you. Love the channel. What is the best home-based unit for scanning P25? You're trying to stay away from the SDS 200. BP, we have a lot of options here. Now, one of these options is going to really dictate what it is you're trying to listen to when it comes to monitoring. So if you can drop in maybe a state and a county and we can take it high level, this way you don't need to share exactly where you are, but a state and a county would be good, would definitely help me out. But before, I know we have a delay here, so before we get to that part of finding out where you are, let's take a look at some radios that we can talk about. Now, I've got plenty of them sitting here on a shelf and over here, but instead of rolling back and forth and coming away from the mic, we're going to stay generic right now. So we've got a Whistler radio here. This is the 1040, WS1040. It's a bit of a brick. This is the successor to the Radio Shack Pro 106 and also the GRE PSR 500, right? This is the Whistler version, the new Whistler version of those radios. That is a P25 Phase 1 scanner. It does not do Phase 2, so you can't do any talk groups that say T in the talk group name. What is this radio great for? This is great for P25 Phase 1. It is good for systems that do not have simulcast. It's also great for conventional P25 scanning, which is something that we need to remember when we talk about P25, that it's not just for trunking, right? It can be used on conventional modes only. So when you say P25, we got to figure out what it is exactly you want to listen to. Now, we could also look at something, and we're going to make believe that we're going to read the model number on here. So let's say this is a P25, a BCD 325 P2, okay? This is actually a BCD 160DN. The form factor is exactly the same, and I want to bring this radio out also as an example. Only because it's on my desk, but I would be making some short form videos on those two radios, which is why they're sitting right here. And also to just so you can see, I have them. It's a Radio Shack 404 on my desk because I was doing a short form video on that. And we have we'll talk about this one, the TRX1. So we'll bring that one out in a second here. So the 325 P2, that'll get you P25 Phase 2 talk groups. Still will not help you out on a simulcast environment. You're still going to drop a lot of conversations if you have simulcast. But that would be an upgrade from a 1040, but it will also be a Whistler version. If you want to stay in the Whistler arena, you can go for a TRX-1. Now, I know we're sticking on handhelds here because this is what I have at my disposal here. And we're going to talk about what the desktops are in a second here. The TRX-1 will get you P25 Phase 2, but it will not get you simulcast. It sucks in simulcast, to put it very bluntly. Now, do you want to talk about what the desktop mobile versions are of each one of these? Why not, right? So when you have a TRX-1, you've got a TRX-2. Now, for the price on this radio, you're pretty much into a SDS 100 or 200. So look at what it is that you're looking to get. It's a little bit cheaper, but the simulcast is gonna pay for itself if you need it. So again, TRX-1 equals a TRX-2. I got one of those sitting on my shelf behind my head, right about there. I got a frozen shoulder, so I got to watch what I do. When it comes to a 325P2, that is a BCD 996P2. Again, got one of those sitting here somewhere. When we look at the WS 1040, that is a WS 1065. Again, that's one of those. That's that one right there. Okay. Those are all good non-simulcast. Now, if you have to go simulcast and you're trying to stay away from the SDS series of scanners, you have to remember that we need to forget everything that we know about the scanner radio hobby. This is something that I definitely want to talk about more. And if you're subscribed to me right here on YouTube or on Instagram or even on TikTok, this will be something you'll see on my short form content, because it's something that I've got a list of things to talk about to actually fill up an entire month's worth of content. This is one of those things. So you guys are getting a sneak peek on this. You got to forget a lot of the stuff that we've talked about and we've learned when it comes to conventional scanning. No external antennas. You're not trying to bring in the world here. You're just trying to bring in just what's coming in, barely into your backyard. Joe P. Whistler did not go out of business. They've actually been reacquired by Galiad Limited, I believe it is. So they have acquired all the assets, and they are relaunching Whistler, so to speak. Their website's back up. They're fulfilling orders, and they're good to go. But they did originally fold, and they're back. So getting back into what we were saying here. So with simulcast, that means that you say you've got two towers, right? But they're transmitting the same thing at the same time. They are simulcasting. And in radio reference, these two towers are basically one site, even though they're in two physically different locations. And because of propagation delay, you're going to receive one tower slightly sooner than the other tower. And when you have a digital transmission, the zeros and ones are time-based, and if you're getting duplicates of these zeros and ones, your scanner can't figure that out. So the whole process of narrowing down one transmitter is what we need to do. So that might mean adding an attenuator. That might mean putting on a mismatched antenna. That might mean putting on a really garbage antenna. Like I've got this MFJ, and they call it the midget duck. This thing is like smaller than my thumb. And I want to experiment using this kind of antenna as to knock out everything and see if it helps with simulcast. Because I've got radios back here that I'm listening to a simulcast site with. Even with attenuation, it's horrible. I cannot reliably get all of the transmissions in here. Let me just side by side that again for you because I know it cut out. There's the little duck, and there's my thumb. Okay, that's how small this antenna is. It does say 144, 440, and 1.2 gig, so it is kind of a mismatch on 800, but we should be able to get there from here. So if you're trying really to stay out of the SDS realm, you're going to have to play with the scanner and see if you can knock out some of the simulcast. Now, if you're really dead set on staying out of the SDS realm, I'm only grabbing this one because it's right next to me. Unication. Okay, let me back up. I'm a dealer for Unication, so let me just talk to you from the hobby side. This does amazingly well on simulcast. It's not a scanner, it's a pager, but it will monitor simulcast beautifully. A bit of a programming learning curve, you could say, and it's not as quick to lock things out. Change scan lists. You can't do multiple trunk systems. You can't do multiple trunk sites. You can't do conventional end trunk at the same time. For those of you with a keen eye, this is a G2 in my hand, so it's only for VHF or UHF. The G5 I have back here on a shelf. That one will do multiple bands. Again, you can't mix and match. So at that price, though, you're already at an SDS. So you have to really say, do you want an SDS or do you want a G series pager? Now, your other much cheaper option, and I would show you, except I'm really afraid of glitching out here, is you could run something with a software-defined radio. For example, you could pick something up, and again, we just missed Amazon Prime Day, but you could pick something up for under $50. I'm gonna say closer to 35, $40. A new elect dongle, an RTL-SDR stick, something like that. You do need to roll some software though in order to pick up your talk groups, and you have to have it on a computer, and you have to run this full time if that's what you want to do. Software you could look at is Unitrunker. Unitrunker will only do P25 phase 1. You could look at something like DSD Plus. You got to pay $25 for DSD Plus Fastlane to get all the bells and whistles, especially P25 trunking on that one, I believe. It's been so long, and I've had the Plus version for forever, basically. SDR Trunk is a great software that is free that will do P25 phase 1, phase 2, and work phenomenal in simulcast. So when you get into the SDR world, you really have a lot of stuff to do. I have a crash course to get you going just on SDR. If you want to check that out, that's over at courses.scannerschool.com. I will put the link in here. And those are several options to get you running without getting into an SDS 100 or 200. So if you have any more feedback from me on that one, would love to hear it. While I was going through that explanation, let me see if we have any comments that are in here too. Let's see. We've got Ray. What's the right way to find the local school bus company? Ray Reference has the company but wrong yard. And once we use that right way to find them on a BCD 125, a right way to do that. So if you're on the bus, right, close call. This way when the driver or operator keys up the microphone, you would find out what frequency they are transmitting on. And again, if it's a repeater, you'll need to subtract 3 megahertz or so, or 5, depending where they are, to see what the repeater output is so you know where to listen to them on. Another option would be to look at the FCC database. You could do the FCC database and find out where they're licensed to. So if you know that they're operating under a license that's generated to their name, such as Acme Bus Company, you can find them that way. But if they're on, say, Bearcom Network, you're never going to find Acme because they're actually using Bearcom's network. Another way of trying to find them is to, and again, I love to show you guys how to do all this, but I'm afraid of glitching the network today. You could look at antenna search. Now, antenna search is something we're going to look at more on short form video. So make sure you subscribe to me over on those, or here over on YouTube, because we're trying to simulcast, to use a buzzword. We're trying to simulcast some of that content here as well. Although TikTok is getting some of the more like creative stuff and some of the candid or the crazier stuff is happening over there. Okay, so antenna search. So you can actually put an address into antenna search and find all the transmitters that are licensed within a 3-mile radius of there. That might help you actually pull out the license really quickly if you know where the depot is or the yard. So that may help you also. It's antennasearch.com. I'm just going to put that in here. That's another great resource. So that should help you out, Ray. I know that you like monitoring the buses, and Radio Reference probably doesn't have it because nobody submitted it, because Radio Reference is a community-driven type of repository, not suppository, and it is one of these things that somebody has to physically add it, submit it, and a database admin has to actually work it. So if nobody's looking for it, then how do you know that it's not there or not, right? And this is where we like to say, too, the secrets are in the searches. So go out there and search for this stuff. And even, Ray, you may just need to put like a search range in there and find out. That could help you out, too. But I would start with antenna search, FCC database, and then close call would probably be the fastest route to get to where you want to go to. Joe P's Nice Radio. Yes, they are all nice radios with the exception of really. It's amazing. This is so light. I mean, this is, you know what? Let's do a little science here. I got my little trusty scale here. Let's clear some space. Let's do apples to apples. We have no batteries and no battery thingy in here. Let's zero this out. And I would love to show a top down, but I can't. So you're going to take my word for it. This measures in at 7.8 ounces with a Pro 404. And this, what would be a Pro 106 or the WS 1040. .4. So an ounce and a half. But it's significant. I mean, it really feels heavier. Much heavier. It's only an ounce and a half. I must need to go to the gym more. Maybe that's what it is. There we go. Struggling to get the battery door open. Maybe it's the batteries that's weighing a lot of weight. 4.3 ounces right there on the batteries. Science. All right. Thanks for nerding out with me. Okay. Ray, this is they're on the wrong company yard. Yeah, but it shows you where the antennas are. So maybe it's licensed to the wrong company. Or maybe it's not licensed at all at that location. It could be that it's that yard, but there's no antenna there. There's no record. So they're using a tower or a frequency that's registered to another yard. They may have two frequencies at another yard, one for this yard, one for another one. So you look at the other yards or look for the other company and see if there's multiple licenses and put that into a scan list. So there may not physically be anything licensed to where that yard is, where that depot is. Okay, let's go back through some more here. Nelson is saying, I see that my SDS 200, the police scanner for 11220 Brooklyn, I think 1 or 2 police stations are no longer going to be on fuse, still goes. Yes, okay. So NYPD is in the process of encrypting everything. So no matter what radio you have, there's going to be an issue no matter what radio you have when it comes to NYPD. They're actually experimenting too with their own trunk system. And so NYPD is going, they're dying a slow death when it comes to the scanner radio hobby. So yeah, that SDS 200 will work really nice for like the MTA system. There's the MTA MRSS trunk system, the Do It system. That'll be great for something like that. Listening to anything that's over the line in Jersey, up in Westchester, into Long Island. That would be, well, into Long Island. You're in Brooklyn, so you're on Long Island. But Do It may be something of interest. Yeah, NYPD, though, enjoy it while you can, NYPD. It is what it is. Like I always say, we do not throw out our TVs when our favorite TV show signs off with a finale, right? We find something else to watch that we will enjoy. Same thing with the scanner radio hobby. We just got to find something else out there that we're going to enjoy. I get it. It's a bummer. My own local police department, they've been encrypted over 10 years, I want to say. It happens. Doesn't kill the hobby, though. There's more out there to listen to than just police. It may be what you want to watch, right? And again, when your favorite TV show goes off the air, there's other things to watch. So that's my take on it. Let's see. BP, really actually informative. Thank you so much for the info. Well, I'm glad that I'm actually... I'm playing with you, BP. That's what I try to do, right? This is a session for you guys, and I know sometimes I get a little long-winded, but I want to be able to make sure that I explain things in a way that you're not still lost, or that I didn't fully answer the question. So I'd rather over-explain something than to leave, more questions than answers. And if you've got more questions, keep funneling them in. We'll go for about another 20 minutes here. Let's see. Adam is saying, Mr. Phil, you asked viewers what their first scanners were. Yes. So if you want to bring that topic over here, what was your first scanner radio? You can drop that right here into chat. Over on our shorts, I talked about my first 2 scanner radios. Well, how can I have 2 scanner radios that were my first? So I don't have the other one. It's up there. I don't feel like putting my butt onto a camera. We'll make believe. Let's make believe here. So my first scanner radio that I actually own. I know the lighting here is kind of bad. We're working on that. Again, this is something that we've discovered by doing the shorts that I need to make some tweaks. So this is good, right? This is something that's good. The first scanner radio that I actually had for my own is this radio here. This is a Canon Furrier. Canon Furrier. This is a Fanon Carrier Slim Scan 6. It is a 6-channel crystal radio. And back when I first got into the hobby, now, it may not be that long ago for many of you, but it could be before some of you were born. I don't know. I'm getting to that point in my life where I need to understand that, you know, I'm at an age. I had this in the early 90s. Now, granted, this was old and obsolete almost by that point, but it's a 6-channel scanner radio, runs on crystals. And on the back of the scanner, which is really cool, we have some sticky notes. My dad wrote on here when he put his frequencies or his crystals in here. So, for example, we've got the Nassau County helicopter. No bueno. That one is now on an encrypted trunk system. 4610 Nassau Fire is going the way of the Dodo. It's still in operation, but they're trying to get off of low band because Motorola is no longer supporting low band. 4632, same story. That is a Nassau County Fire Fireground channel. 4646 Suffolk County Fire. Still in operation, but going away the Dodo. 155-325 Suffolk County Ambulance, believe it or not, still active. And 478-9125 Nassau County 3rd and 6. I don't know why that's in here because we didn't live in the 3rd and 6. But that's what's in this radio. Oh, you know why? Because I don't know why. But anyway, that's also the way of the Dodo. But this radio is great. 6 channels, got me more than what I wanted to listen to at the time. And to lock things out, you would just move these dials down and it would stop the radio from scanning through. Really archaic by these by what we can do today. But still cool nonetheless. And again, just goes to show that just because equipment is old and you think it's obsolete, no, we could easily put new crystals in here if we could find them for something else to listen to. Say I wanted to put in 156.8, right? I think that is channel 16 Coast Guard. Or if I wanted to put in a couple of, will this radio do AM? That's a great question. I don't know if it does AM, but if it does, maybe I want to put in some couple of local approach and departure frequencies. Maybe I want to listen to a couple other Coast Guard channels. Maybe I wanted to listen to maybe the local fire department that's still an analog UHF. I could do that with that scanner. It's old, it's ancient, but it is still usable by today's standards. So the other radio. Oh, we can't play Make Believe because it's in a box. I actually moved that there. That is definitely there. It's a Uniden BC200 XLT, the first radio that this nerd bought himself with paper route money in the mid-90s because my dad had one and my uncle had one, and I kept stealing my dad's to use it. So I ended up buying my own. I love that radio. I think it's still a cool radio. And that goes into an era, too, where you could buy scanner radios that weren't cellular blocked. And not saying that this nerd did it, but if somebody was handy enough with a solder iron, they could remove the diode or add the jumper or whatever it was, and they would be able to monitor analog cell phone communications. And that was a big draw with that radio. Especially some of the radios at that time, they came out just before that the Communications Act of 94 took effect, where radios could not be modified to listen to cellular radio. And again, moot point these days for most areas because most cell phone systems now, just the way they operate, whether it be 3G, GSM, 4G, LTE, 5G, even CDMA, TDMA, they're all digital, right? That was 2G. They're all digital. There's not analog, so you can't monitor anyway from the scanner because there's a whole bunch of encryption factors in there and everything else. So having cellular blocked is BS at this point. But it's still the way it is, and that's the way it is. 30-year-old law. All right. Let's see. Adam's saying his is the Realistic Pro 3810 channel used for rail fanning back in the day. And again, great, right? I mean, older radio, you could still use it today because most rails are still analog. U.S. Coast Guard, aviation. There's a ton of stuff out there that we can still use some of these old radios for. And I would definitely I'm afraid of the magic smoke coming out of here, so we might move some crystals over. I have a stunt double that I purchased, and you'll see that on my short forms. Maybe we'll move some of these crystals over to my stunt double, and then we'll leave it on 4610 and 4646 and just let the radio do something so you can see that it still works. I think that would be pretty cool to do too. Let's see. Nelson is saying, thank you for answering my questions. And yes, I get New Jersey, Long Island, and New York City. Yep. There's still plenty to listen to out there. So we are at the end of the list here. You guys have anything more to talk about? Let me know. We'll add it in here. I know it's static cam. I know that I haven't been changing anything. Again, I don't want to move things around OBS. I've been troubleshooting this. So I tried right now not to use my teleprompter as a video source. So I keep looking off on the side to make sure that I'm still, everything is still working here. And that didn't really seem to make a difference. OBS crashed out of the gate. I have a Thunderbolt hub that cost me over $100, and I'm wiring all of my data-hungry devices into my Thunderbolt device as opposed to having them on a USB 3 or even a USB-C hub. No, that's still causing problems. I don't know what it is. I'm at a loss. So OBS crashed out of the gate. Okay, it's an OBS issue, I think, at this point. I got to rebuild OBS. Maybe I got to redo everything on there and start over again. I don't know. But we're running. I'm not poking the bear, right? We're leaving things as they are. This is a stripped-down, rundown program for you guys today. So, all right, guys. I am out of stuff to talk about right now. I will say that if you haven't yet subscribed to me over on some of those channels that host short forms, definitely do so. I know a lot of people are opposed to that whole TikTok thing, and I get it, and I've been, not focusing there for a while, but there's a lot of potential there. There's a strong radio community over there. So it makes sense to add my 2 cents over there. Some of the stuff is staying over on TikTok just because they have got music backgrounds and they're more of a entertainment factor type of content. I'm trying to keep just the educational stuff to YouTube and on Instagram Reels if I can. Some of the entertainment factor and the educational stuff is over on TikTok. And we'll see how long that lasts for. I am trying to get monetized over there. So if you haven't subscribed over there and you just want to give this nerd a little bit of a boost, you just go ahead and do that. And if you don't want the app on your device, I understand that. You can always check us out using your web browser. TikTok is available via the web, just as it is from YouTube. Just look for my handle. It's Scanner School. You can catch us out over there. What is my website? Okay, my website is a disaster. I actually paid somebody to redo it for me, and I was getting to the point where it was looking really good until it wasn't. So I am going to say that the dumpster fire, that is our website, is scannerschool.com. I will drop that in here for you. And one of these days, I will update it and get it going again. It's a nightmare. I'm just letting you know that right now. BP, good for your help. Thank you so much for the help. Thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate that. George is in, watching from South Jersey. Very nice. I'm jealous. I am dying for a trip down to Atlantic City. So I haven't been down there in a year. I for some reason, I don't gamble, but I like going down there. It's a nice drive from here. It's 3 hours away. It's close enough, but it's far enough to get away. And I'm a beach person, so I like being on the beach. The last time I was down, was it the last time? No, it wasn't the last time. The time before that, I happened to catch on a TRX-1. I was catching some exercises by the local fire department, doing some search and rescue, and some grabs and whatnot. So it was good listening down there, and of course too, you get some of the military helicopters flying up and down the coast, right there by the casino. So it's some really good listening from Atlantic City. I like it down there. Some of those places that I like to go to. All right, guys. It's about 11:45 here local time, and I have got a full plate of things that I want to take care of today. Will you program the G7 or G8? What is the G7 or G8, BG? I'm not familiar with that one. To buy a G8. You're talking about the Unication pager? So that would be they sell G1s to G5s. So that would be East Coast pagers. I will drop that in here. And that website is not a smoking dumpster fire. I do my best to keep that one organized, up to date, and as user-friendly as possible. There are things I would like to bring to that website, but we're working on it. We are, again, working muscles here to help things over there. So it's a bit of a give and take thing. Yep, we got you, BG. Hopefully that's it. So there's no G7 or G8. It's G1 is the analog version. G2 and through G5 are the P25 scanners, which also do analog. So there we go. Guys, next month, we are aiming for the first Saturday of the month to meet with you guys again. So if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. I am looking for my phone to actually get you the date on that. Let me take a look here. And that would be the 2nd. Let me make sure my 2nd is free. So far, so good. So I'll see everybody on the 2nd. If you are a Patreon supporter, we had a very abbreviated meeting this past month because I messed up on the time. I didn't put it in the invite. So we will be meeting on the first Tuesday of August if you are a Patreon supporter. And again, just so we have a date on that one, it will be the 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. So if you're an extra credit member over there, you can catch us out. And again, if you'd like to help support me over on Patreon, I'm going to just drop the link here. And I really should have just a drop file with all this stuff. And just so that we have a Justin Roth, how are you? Hey, from Staten Island, welcome, a fellow New Yorker. Well, a lot of New Yorkers in here today. We'll do that one, and then because we talked about it, let me just drop in the other one here. So again, you can catch us shorts here on YouTube. If you're not already subscribed here, please help me out here. And if you're looking for other distractions, that should take you over to the other website. It sounds like a clock. I am just going to double check that. Make sure it is still the URL that will take you there. It is. The funny thing about looking at my TikTok channel and some of these short form channels is the fact that you see me go from how I looked prior to cancer treatments to a couple of videos during the treatment to a couple of videos just after treatments to now how I look now. So it's quite a journey. There you go. So Justin, the live stream is going to be right here. We're going to wrap this up, and it's going to be available immediately for you to catch. So you don't have to worry about catching on the website. The live stream will be right here when we all said and done. So guys, I'm not going to drag this any further. If you want to subscribe, that'd be awesome. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know you like this live stream. Anybody catching us on a replay, leave your comments or your questions below. We'll make sure we get those answered. If you want to help me out and you want to help me make that content creator milestone over on that clock site, TikTok, you can subscribe to me over there. We're about 7,400 subs over there. We need 10 in order to start getting over another milestone to be monetized over there. And then, so we're working on stuff. Questions are always great. We will use those to answer some or create some more short form content. Guys, we'll see you all again next month. Again, August 2nd, 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll be right here on YouTube. And then our Patreon supporters can catch us live over on the 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern. 73 guys, thanks for spending your Saturday mornings with me. Thanks for catching us on a replay, and we will do this again next month. 73 all.